Welcome back. You're still with us on Business 360. Now, the chairman of the Competition Commission, Ashok Kumar Gupta, has promised faster clearances after the proposed changes to the competition law. Speaking to Nisha Podar, the Gupta also added that search and seizure powers can now be used without reference to Companies Act. He also warned that furnishing wrong information will invite penalties.
The search and seizure powers were already available with the Director General. In the existing statutory architecture also, the Director General has been vested with the search and seizure powers which is deriving from Companies Act. The bill now proposes to make that provision of the Competition Act as self-contained without reference to the Companies Act. I see no reason for any worry on this account. Experience across the globe shows that some mergers may change market structures and distort level playing field. This may, over a period of time, result in unfair pricing and poor quality of goods and services. This may require correction at the stage of merger itself. CCI has always facilitated quick approval of M&As. The average number of days to approve M&As has already come down to 17 working days only, primarily because we trust the information filed by parties.
The Delhi High Court maintains the stay on Consumer Protection Authority's order barring restaurants from imposing service charge. The court allowed more time to restaurants to file their reply. Ashok Kumar is here with all the action from the court. Ashok?
Well, just for the benefit of hindsight for our viewers, let's keep in mind that the CCPA, the Central Consumer Protection Authority, had come out with guidelines barring the levy of service charge by restaurants. Subsequently, the Restaurant Association moved to the High Court, and in July, the Delhi High Court had stayed those guidelines and thereby allowing restaurants to continue charging service charge from their customers. Now, what's interesting is that the CCPA challenged that stay order before a division bench of the Delhi High Court. That's what was heard today. The arguments were exchanged, and importantly, the CCPA had argued that the CCPA is acting well within its powers, that it has received lakhs and lakhs of complaints, that this is an arbitrary application of charge, that restaurants, by including it in the bill, confuse the consumers into thinking that this is some kind of government levy, whereas it's not. And further, the CCPA argued that the restaurants can remunerate their employees by simply increasing the prices of their products. The Restaurant Association on their part, however, argued that, look, this has been a practice which has been implemented for over 70 years now, that this is, they're acting well within their rights, that the government cannot introduce price controls as far as commercial operations are concerned, and that it's a private contract between the restaurant and the consumers and the customers. The Delhi High Court at this point did observe that if the restaurants are interested in remunerating, in offering better packages to their employees, they can do so by raising prices, and that obligation cannot be shifted to the customers. While this was an observation that came, but what's important is that the Delhi High Court, as so far, has not tinkered with the stay order, has allowed that stay order to continue. So what that effectively means is that the restaurants can continue to go ahead and levy service charge. One important aspect to keep in mind, the hearing will resume once again on August 31st, and that's when we can expect more clarity on the way forward.
All right, Ashok, thank you so much for those details. Now, it's a bitter pill for pharma companies after that index fell 0.5% post-sell-off on US generic stocks following a dispute settlement over Ranitidine, a high-risk drug. That's not all. US President Biden signing a law to rein in prices of prescription drugs also hurt sentiment. Ekta Batra joins in with all of those details. Ekta?
Well, yes, it's a down day for frontline Indian generic pharma companies such as Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's and Cipla. Now, while analysts and experts can't pinpoint a specific reason for the weakness today, there is a likelihood that the correction is on the back of the US generic stocks such as Teva, Perrigo, as well as Taro correcting overnight in the US markets. Analysts say the market seemed to have been spooked by a settlement on the popular antacid drug Onzantac and Onzantac generic, or the chemical name Ranitidine. Remember, the drug was pulled out of the US in 2020 by the US drug regulators on fears that the drug contains a cancer-causing substance, NDMA. Now, the lawsuit was against some of the manufacturers of the branded and generic versions of Onzantac by a 79-year-old man, Joseph Bayer, claiming that the drug, which he bought over the counter and consumed, caused his esophageal cancer. The generic pharma companies such as Teva, Perrigo, Sun, Dr. Reddy's made a combined settlement of over $500,000 with Bayer a week before it went to trial. Now, the settlement amount of the combined 500,000 odd was not that much and will be less than if the case went to trial. But the news has cropped up fears that the other similar lawsuits on ranitidine could result in a liability litigation, which could end up costing billions of dollars to resolve. Also, while litigations on generic drugs is a normal course of business, the fear is the large number of cases for ranitidine. Reports indicate there are currently more than 2,000 lawsuits in the US against manufacturers of ranitidine on allegations of it causing cancer. A US-based brokerage house that wrote on the matter indicated there is substantial uncertainty surrounding the total financial impact of the Onzantac litigation. Lastly, the fear is that NDMA has also been found in other drugs in the US, such as sartan drugs, which are used to treat blood pressure, or the extended-release version of commonly used diabetes drug metformin, hence cropping up fears of similar type of litigations on those drugs. Also, the street continues to fear factors such as price pressure and factors such as the US president signing a law to lower prescription drug prices, heightening concerns around the same.
Right, so a tough day there for Indian pharma. Thank you so much for those details, Ekta. And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Many thanks for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18. The news continues on the other side.